Hi YouTube, this is JayeJaye714 coming back at you again. Before I get started with this, I just wanted to show you, I did do a little mini haul last week. I believe this was, I went shopping at, I can't remember if it was JCPenney's or where I went shopping. But anyway, I picked up, no, it was that, believe it, of all places, Payless. I picked up this cute little ring and bracelet set. I really liked it. It was really nice. Not that expensive, but I just like unique things. So just wanted to show you that. But I think what I'm going to start doing is doing a little series of talks, sort of like fireside talks that I believe President Churchill did. Roosevelt also, I believe, did what they call fireside chats, and it was the British Prime Minister Churchill. I don't know why it's a person Churchill, but just I was watching something the other day, and just never mind that. But anyway, I was talking to my girlfriend Pam today because one thing that God has really been putting on my heart is about our decision-making process. And at my age now, I can remember about 20 years ago, you know, I was in my 20s and young, and when you're young, you feel like you're invincible, you know everything, nobody can tell you anything. Yeah, we all been there, I know I have. But I remember how I would sit up and I would listen to my pastor, and at the time I went to a church in Washington, D.C., and a pastor, I call him my father in the gospel, Pastor John A. Cherry, just such a godly, wholesome man, but and loved his family, had a wonderful family. His wife, Deanna, she also taught as well. That I can remember how he would pour his heart out and giving us the Word of God and the message. And a lot of times you could tell that he had gone through some things, and he would share some of his personal, intimate things that happened in his life. And it was really heartfelt. But I remember once I was in a crossroad where I wanted to really be married, and I was dating this guy at the time who really was not in church. You know, he would go to church because I was there. But in my heart of hearts, I knew that was not what God wanted for me. But I remember when we broke up, and we had actually just broken up when I really got involved with this ministry. And actually I got involved with the ministry, and I felt like God brought me there because that's what I needed at the time, especially because I really thought that I was in love with this guy and he was the one, and you know, saw myself having children with him and all that great stuff. But one thing that I remember immensely from his messages that I miss to this day, and I even share with my husband now, that you know, we relocated from South Carolina to Georgia, but my heart's desire was to be able to relocate back up in the Maryland area so that we could become affiliated with that church, because I know what the Word did to my life and how it impacted my life. But unfortunately at the time I was somewhat unstable in some things. In other words, because I was in the military, I had to make a decision to get out, which I wasn't really ready to get out. And then after I got out, after being out in the Air Force for like 12 years, I just felt a little lost. So what ended up happening was I found myself making a series of bad decisions. And it was really difficult. And what I have come to realize to this day, the reason I was making some of those decisions, and those decisions had nothing to do with, you know, dating, but it was just decisions. You know, I had got a job, and it was illegal, was with a law firm, hated the job. But I had committed myself to being there for a year. Then I allowed a headhunter to come along who I had met before I got this job that I had, but she didn't help me get this job. But I took that job because when I got out of the Air Force, I had been unemployed for 5 months. And I remember the couple that I was staying with, the husband told me, he said, Janice, do not necessarily take the first job that you're offered. But because I was not used to not working, also I was used to being independent, and I was living with someone else, it was not a very comfortable situation for me. I felt like when they offered me the job, because I had prayed to God and I felt like it was God that opened the door, I took the job, and it was like the day that I walked in to the job, it was like I went through hell. And I think I ended up, I'm sorry, not that job, forgive me. Let me back it up a little bit. But I took that job, and I worked for 2 attorneys, a white male and a black female. Now guess who I had the problem with? Yep, you're right, the black female. And it was to the point that I knew what I was doing. I mean, I'm very organized. I'm very meticulous about what I was doing. But she was the type of person, she micromanaged. And I don't like to share this, but I'm sharing this because I'm trying to make a point. But the bottom line was, I felt like I was in a position where there was a time that a document that I had given to her, and I remember giving it to her. And being in the Air Force, I learned some things. Sometimes you always have to, what they say, CYA, cover your, I'll use the word behind, but you know what the A means. So I always wrote notes to cover myself. Sometimes I made copies of things. Well, I had given her the document. She misplaced the document. And basically, she was not the kind of person that when she realized she made a mistake, she would not come back and apologize to you. Well, I think I worked in this job maybe 6, almost 7 months, and I put it this way, I was not happy. I was happy to have a job, but I was not happy with that job. So, long story short, this recruiter came along. Janice, you know, I heard that where you are is like a revolving door. Now, I've been in the Air Force for over 12 years. You know, wherever they sent me, that's where I went. That's where I had to stay, whether I was comfortable or not. So I just got used to it, and I was going to deal with it. But she kept bugging me about going to interview for this job. I finally gave in because I just got tired of her calling me. The job was only like next door, really, to where I was. So I was able to go do it on my lunch break. And I'm going to be honest, I did not do my best interview. And I even told the guy, I'm not looking for a job. I went back expecting not to hear back from her. But she called me back and she said, oh, I don't know what you said to him, but he was really, really impressed. Da, 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 da. He wants to see you again in the morning. Well, because of, and I believe that morning, that's when the situation happened about the, you know, the paperwork being missing that I gave to her. And so I found the paperwork on her desk. And I showed her that I found it on her desk. But she didn't apologize. But she yelled at me. And she said a few other not-so-choice words. And I'm the type of person, I'm a Christian. So I don't believe in cursing, swearing, and everything. And I don't like nobody cursing, swearing at me. So anyway, long story short, when she called me back and she said he wanted to interview with me again, I went over and he interviewed with me before I had to be to work. So I went over, interviewed, everything, the pay, all that stuff seemed great. So when I came back, I told her, I said, I'm putting in my letter of resignation. So automatically, she just assumed that it had to do with money. Because she was like, oh, you know, if it's money, I'll go down to HR, I'll talk to them. And I told her, I said, no, it doesn't have anything to do with that. I just didn't like how she treated me. So, long story short, I gave them my 2-week notice, went to the new job. The day I walked into that job, it was like hell. But I put myself in that situation, and I told the Lord, I said, Father, I'm going to give this job a year. And basically that's what I did. And for a whole year, I went through hell, literally. And so basically, you know, I'm the type of person, I don't like lying, I don't like stealing, I don't like cheating. And of course, when you're that kind of person, sometimes the enemy will put the opposite, and it's always testing. So I basically turned in my stuff and all that, and then I didn't have a job. And so because I had made that decision, I ended up losing my apartment because I couldn't afford to pay for it. And lo and behold, the Lord blessed. I was able to get another job right away, but then I needed to find another place to live. I was staying with someone else, which for me, staying with other people, that didn't work. But my girlfriend came along, and actually she was actually my supervisor or manager when I was in the Air Force. So she made me a good offer. I moved in with her and her family, and it was fine for a while. But then I was in this really bad car accident, which I couldn't understand, like, Lord, you know, what's going on? And then something else happened. The Lord had me witness to her brother-in-law. And he didn't want to receive what I had to say. And by that Christmas, right after that Christmas, because she was home, went home for Christmas, he died. He died a horrible death. I think he had a heart attack or something. I don't know what happened, but you know, that really scared me. And then there was a minister on staff at the church I went to, very godly young man. Him and his wife had been married a few years. They were a very sweet couple. He died. And after that happened, it really scared me because I was like, okay, I mean, I can understand, not that I could understand why the brother-in-law passed away, but then when this young man died, and he just died, he was on the way with another minister to a men's retreat, and he asked if he could pull over the other, you know, he needed to pull over to the side of the road, and he pulled over, and he was gone. And it really just let me know it's like God was getting my attention. But the bottom line was I ended up, I was told that I needed to move back home because, you know, there were things going on with me, and there were some things going on with me from that point of view, from, you know, with my parents and stuff, and or some family members and stuff. And so anyway, I was just having a difficult time dealing with it. It took me probably a few months more, probably about 6 more months, and I finally moved because I figured, well, Lord, I don't want to die, you know, because I was feeling people were dropping off dying, and, you know, I wasn't making the best choices. So, but I guess the bottom line is apparently I did what God wanted me to do because I was back down. I moved home to Alabama for a few months. That didn't work out. I had changed too much to live in Montgomery for some reason. People would always ask, where are you from? And I'm like, I was born and raised here, Montgomery, Alabama. But, well, I was born in Tuskegee, but I was raised in Montgomery, Alabama. But I guess because, you know, the military had just groomed me and changed me, that I just didn't, you know, accept things the way that a lot of people that are in the Deep South accepted things. So I moved back with my twin sister. We had some challenges as well. But lo and behold, the Lord blessed me to meet my husband. And then I'll talk about that a little bit later. But basically, what I'm trying to say is that, as I was sharing with my girlfriend, Pam, today, and this is for you too, Pam, but I was saying to her is that God has really been dealing with me, and I feel that